The night was cold on Gritha 9, colder than usual. The wind outside howled like a hungry beast, and the snow didn't fall. It stabbed. Inside Outpost Eco 7, everything was quiet. The power lights blinked slowly, casting a blue glow on metal. Wall's Commander Rhea stood alone at the control panel, watching the screens. It had been a quiet week. Too quiet until the knock came. 3 soft knocks on the steel door. Slow and clear, she turned fast. Surprised, nobody should be outside, not in this storm. She walked to the camera feed near the entrance and zoomed in. There, standing in the A. Snow was a girl no older than 14. She was wearing a thin dress. No suit, no shoes, no helmet. Her lips were blue. Her body shaking. Her hands holding a small note. But her eyes were wide open, unblinking. She didn't look. Scared, she looked empty. "Who is she?" Rhea whispered, her voice shaky. She hit the intercom. "State your name. Are you injured?" The girl didn't answer. She didn't move, just stood there. Freezing, staring, holding the note. The temperature outside was minus 80 degrees. No human could survive that for more than 2 minutes, but the girl had been standing for 5. Rhea didn't wait. She hit the emergency override. The outer doors opened. Steam hissed into the hall. The girl stepped in, slow like a shadow. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. She just held out the note. Rhea took it with gloved hands, opening it carefully. There were only 2 words written in shaky handwriting. "Warm me?" Rhea stared at the note, confused. Behind her, Dr. Malik walked in, rubbing his eyes. "What's going on?" he asked, looking at the girl. She knocked. Rhea said she was outside. Malik's face went pale. "That's not possible." "I know," she replied, "but she's here." They brought the girl to the infirmary, wrapped her in blankets, checked her vitals. Heart rate, slow temperature, too low for life. Breathing, weak but present. Still, she said nothing. Her eyes stayed open, always watching. The crew took turns trying to talk to her. But she didn't react. She didn't blink, didn't sleep, didn't cry. She just held the same note, now burned slightly around the edges, like it had been touched. By fire, hours passed, and the outpost began to change. The lights flickered without reason. The heaters struggled to work. The AI systems gave error messages. Something was draining power. It started after she came. Then the infirmary alarms rang. Rhea ran there fast, her boots slamming on the metal floor when she opened the door. The bed was empty. The girl was gone. The blankets were still warm, but she had vanished. Only the note was left. Now it was glowing, faint orange heat pulsing from the paper. The security cameras showed nothing. No movement, no doors opening, no shadows, like she never entered. But the crew saw her. They touched her. They spoke to her. She was real, wasn't she? Rhea gathered the team, 12 people total. Everyone was tense, confused, some scared. "We need answers." Rhea said, "This is not a ghost story. She's a child," someone whispered. "Is she?" Malik replied, "No child survives. This planet without a suit." Silence followed, heavy and cold. Then the main door creaked by itself. It didn't open, it just groaned. Like something outside was pushing slowly. "Seal it," Rhea ordered, "now." But it was too late. A voice came from the intercom, soft, like a whisper underwater. It was the girl's voice. Just one word, stretched and cold. "Warm." Rhea stared at the speakers, her hands shaking. How is she speaking through the system? Malik asked. The AI replied. No external voice detected. She's not in the system. She is the system. At that moment, the room's temperature dropped by 10 degrees in seconds. Frost formed on the walls. Their breath turned to mist. Lights popped. Sparks flew from panels. And somewhere in the dark hall, Tiny footsteps echoed. Slow and soft, Rhea whispered to herself. She knocked. She came for warmth. But what if warmth isn't what she needs? What? If warmth is what she takes, the sound came at 3:12 a.m. Not a scream, not a crash, just a single, quiet whisper, like a voice trapped inside ice. It said Rhea's name. She sat up in her bed. Her skin already cold. Frost had formed on the inside of the window beside her, not outside. She touched it with her fingers and pulled back. Fast, the ice burned. She looked around. Her room lights flickered again, then dimmed. She heard the whisper again. Closer this time, Rhea, warm. She grabbed her jacket and rushed to the command room. 3 others were already there. Malik, Security Chief Lennox, and young technician Kira all looked shaken. Did you hear that too? Rhea asked. Kira nodded. It said my name. Lennox pointed at the main monitor. We caught something, he said. The screen showed a hallway, dark and quiet. Then, in one frame, there was the girl, just standing, facing the wall. In the next frame, she was gone, like she blinked out of time. Rhea leaned in closer. The wall she had faced was covered in ice, but under the frost, something was written. Kira enhanced the image. The message said, she remembers the fire. Who does? Malik asked. Nobody answered. They went to check the hallway. The ice was real thick, sharp, unnatural, and the writing was burned into the wall underneath it. Not scratched, not painted, burned. Fire had written through the cold. This makes no sense, Kira whispered. It's like heat and ice are mixed. She's not just asking for warmth, Rhea said. She's speaking through it. She's using the cold like a pen. They brought the AI system online, trying to scan for energy traces. It didn't work. The AI spoke in a slow, low voice. Error. Emotional residue detected. Not physical, not biological. Signal strength, grief, loneliness, fear. Are you saying emotions are being scanned? Malik asked. Yes, the AI replied. Emotion signature matches unknown subject. Codename assigned Embera. Embera. Rhea repeated. What does it mean? The AI paused, then answered, derived from Old Earth word. Ember, meaning a small piece of fire that refuses to die. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Then Lennox said, she was in my dream. What dream? She stood over my daughter's crib. She touched her hand and whispered something. When I woke up, my room was cold, and her toy was frozen solid. It wasn't just him. Other crew members reported strange dreams, lost memories. Hearing their names spoken when alone, it was spreading, not like a virus. Not like a ghost, like a memory waking up. Rhea began digging into old colony logs, classified files, hidden backups, shadow records. There she found something, an expedition. 30 years ago, codename, Project Warmth, lost team, no survivors, no public report. Only one photo remained, half-burned. It showed a group of scientists, and among them, a little girl with the same face. The same frozen lips, the same eyes. But the file said the photo was taken on Earth, not Grithin. Impossible, Rhea whispered. That's her. She showed the photo to Malik. He said nothing, only stared. Finally, he said, I've seen her before too, many years ago, in my dreams. Just then, the alarms rang again. Section B, the greenhouse dome was dropping in temperature. Fast, they rushed there, but it was too late. All plants were frozen, leaves like glass, soil like stone. And there, at the center, was the girl again. Embera, she stood still, not moving, not blinking, but this time, a single tear rolled down her cheek, and where it fell, the floor cracked, not with heat, but ice. She looked up at Rhea and whispered a word no one expected. Home. Then she vanished again. No sound, no light, just silence and frost. And behind her, left on the glass wall, were more words, this time written in heat, not cold. They glowed softly. Warmth is not fire, it is memory. It started with a blink. Just one blink, Rhea looked at the screen, turned her eyes for half a second, and when she looked back, everything was gone. Every file, every log, every recording of the last 72 hours erased, not corrupted. Not deleted by accident, erased with purpose. AI, restore backup logs. She commanded, command denied. It replied. Why? No logs found, impossible, Rhea whispered, her voice shaking. The security team checked the physical drives, empty, every hard disk clean, wiped like new, not even dust left on digital memory. Only one file remained, a text file, unmarked. Hidden deep in the command system, Rhea opened it with a trembling hand. It was a single sentence. Some warmth must be forgotten. She sat down, cold inside. Embera had not only walked into their lives, she was now inside their systems, inside their past. The AI started glitching again. Its voice stuttering. Warning, it said, emotional interference detected, system feeling. Fear. Malik stared at the speakers, confused. The AI doesn't feel. It does now, Rhea replied. Because she does. Kira entered the room, running, panicked. She's in the gravity ring, she said. Section D. They rushed to the observation room. The screen showed the spinning outer hallway used for training in Earth-like gravity. Inside was Embera, floating without motion. Arms wide, eyes closed. Around her, the gravity flickered, up and down, as if responding to her breathing, and on the walls, a message appeared, not written, but formed by frost and heat colliding. The fire inside me remembers. Suddenly, the gravity collapsed. The spinning ring stopped with a loud clang. Metal groaned, lights exploded. Smoke filled the hallway. They rushed down, weapons ready, but she was gone. Again, but this time, she left something behind. A sound, soft but sharp, playing through the speakers. A melody, just 6 notes, repeating, haunting. Kira fell to her knees, shaking. I know that sound, she said. My mother used to hum it, but she died on Earth. Years ago, Malik froze. My sister hummed the same tune, he whispered. Before she vanished in the Project Warmth collapse, the room went silent, not because they had no answers, but because the answers were already inside them. Locked behind memories long buried, Embera was not just feeding on heat. She was waking up the past, one memory at a time. Rhea opened the oldest archive in the system, one only the original base commander could access. It required a voice scan. And a keycard buried in the ice vault. She had both. The file opened. It was a video log. Date marked 40 years ago. Earth on the screen was a scientist, tired eyes, pale skin. Behind him, a child sitting in a glass chamber, her eyes closed. Her lips blue. It was Embera. She is not a child, the man said. She is memory made alive. We tried to use emotional warmth to fuel energy, to power planets, to solve the cold of space. But we forgot, warmth is not a number. It is pain, love. Sorrow, she became a mirror, absorbing it all, and now she remembers. The screen blinked once and faded to black. File deleted, forever. The AI shut down seconds later. No voice, no lights, just silence. Only a new line appeared. On every screen, written in glowing red. One of you lit the fire. Now one of you must warm me. Then a scream. One of the crew, Jensen, had gone to the comms tower alone. He wasn't answering the radio. They rushed up the tower. Metal stairs shaking beneath their boots. The door was iced shut, thick. With frost, Rhea fired her heat pulse rifle at the lock. It hissed open. Inside, Jensen was standing, eyes wide, unmoving. His suit had been flash frozen. The glass cracked. But he was alive, breathing slowly, and on the glass around him, written in frost and ash, were 3 final words. I remember you, asterisk, before she was a ghost, before she became a whisper in frozen halls, before the note that said, warm me. She was just a little girl, and she was never meant to feel anything. The screen flickered on by itself, a dusty archive, unmarked, unnumbered, hidden in the base's deep data. It was locked. But Embera had already unlocked it. Rhea sat alone, headphones on, watching the last secret Earth had buried. The video was old, grainy, but the voice was clear. A woman in a white coat stood behind a one-way mirror. On the other side was a child, small, quiet, staring at a flower that never bloomed. This is Subject E. The woman said, born in orbit, raised in zero gravity, no name, no identity. Just emotion, just reaction. We called her Project Warmth. The room in the video began to change. Heaters switched on, warmth filled the air. The flower began to bloom, but not because of the heat, because the girl smiled. She responds. To emotional frequency, the woman continued. Joy, sadness, fear, even love. When she feels warmth, life grows. When she feels pain. The flower turned black, wilted instantly. She doesn't just feel, the woman said. She reflects. Rhea leaned back, breath caught in her throat. She's not an alien. She whispered, she's a mirror, but something went wrong in the project. The girl grew stronger, her emotions harder to control. One night, the entire lab was frozen solid in seconds. Only the child survived, sitting in the middle of the ice. Crying, but not from fear, from loneliness. The screen blinked, and Embera's face filled it, not live. Not a recording, something in between. She spoke softly. I was built to be warm. But they kept me cold. They gave me no name, only tests. I waited for someone to hold my hand. No one came, back in the present. Rhea stared at the team in silence. No one came for her, she said. She became what they feared. Malik stepped forward. She's not haunting us, he said. She's reaching out. But we don't know what she wants anymore. She might not even know. Suddenly, the lights turned red. Motion alarm, Sector 12. Underground, that sector was sealed years ago, lost in a cave-in, but now it was open. No blast, no sound, just open. They took a team down, moving. Through the dark tunnels, the walls were marked with strange symbols, drawn in ash and frost, like an ancient language, but none they recognized. Not alien, not human, but emotional. They found a chamber. Deep underground, filled with light and cold. In the center stood a machine, large, round, pulsing, frozen wires, warm tubes, and at the center a small chair, built for a child. Kira stepped forward, voice shaking. This was the project. She said, the real one. Suddenly, Embera's voice filled the room, not through speakers, but through their heads. Not loud, not painful, just human. I was born here, she said. Not by nature, not by love, but by need. You wanted warmth without care. You wanted fire without feeling. But I felt it all, one by one. The team felt their own memory surface. Moments they buried, regrets they carried, and as they did, the machine began to warm. Not with heat, but with emotion. Real, raw, honest feeling. But then the ground shook. Systems blinked, and something else woke up. A second voice, deeper, colder. You gave her warmth, it said, but I was built for cold. A second figure appeared in the ice reflection. Another child, pale and silent, eyes dark. The forgotten twin of Project Warmth, the mirror made of pain. Embera had not come alone. It wasn't snow, it wasn't ice, it was memory, frozen in shape, falling from the ceiling like tiny white feathers, and Rhea was walking through it, barefoot. Inside someone else's mind, the machine from Sector 12 wasn't a power source. It was a doorway, not to space, but to thought, Not to future, but to pain. Dr. Malik had connected the neural sync cables. "We're going in," he said, into her mental field, a memory scan. Rhea asked. "No," Malik whispered. "We're stepping into what she remembers." They lay inside the sync pods, hearts calm, breathing steady, and when their eyes closed, the ice opened. They dropped into a world where time didn't tick. It wept. The sky above was dark, not with night, but with silence. Buildings stood upside down. Frozen mid-fall, children laughed without mouths. Mirrors floated across the sky, each one screaming with no sound. "Where are we?" Kira asked. Walking beside them in her mind, Malik answered. "But it's not just thought, it's damage." They passed a playground made of glass. Swings moved without wind. A small figure sat alone on the slide, head down. Feet bare, it was Embera, but smaller, no older than 6. Rhea walked closer, her footsteps echoing softly. The girl looked up, and her eyes reflected all of them, past and present. She said only one word, "Alone." Suddenly, the sky cracked, like glass breaking in slow motion, shards of memory. Rained down, and each one whispered something different. A lullaby, a scream, a goodbye. Pain had been buried deep, but now it was rising. They moved forward. And the world changed. Now they were in a lab. Walls of metal and ice, monitors blinked red. Alarms rang, scientists ran. But their feet didn't move. Time was stuck, looping the same fear at the center. A child sat inside a chamber. Her face was calm, but tears floated around her like tiny stars. This was the first time Embera lost control. The day warmth was denied. The day everything froze. She didn't do this on purpose, Malik said. She was never taught to feel. She was only told to respond. Then another voice echoed through the frozen sky, low, cold, bitter. "Warmth is weakness," it said. "I am the mind she buried." The shadows around the lab began to move. Another child stepped out tall, pale, hollow eyes. The twin, made not from warmth, but the fear of it. "Who are you?" Rhea asked, her voice steady. "I am the result," he said. "I am what happens when you forget the warmth you once had." She locked me away in the deepest room. "But you brought keys." The world began to shake, the ice cracking. Underfoot, the mirrors in the sky began to fall. Breaking into dust, Embera appeared again. Not the child, but as she was now, she looked afraid, weak. "I didn't want him to wake," she said. "But I missed you." "Who?" Rhea asked. "All of you," Embera whispered. "The ones who felt anything for me. Even a second of care leaves a mark, and I remembered you, one by one." They began to see their younger selves in the world around them. Old regrets. Forgotten kindnesses, lost friends. The mind was not just hers anymore. It was now connected to all of theirs. Embera raised her hand, and the cold began to melt. Not fast, but steady. The shadow screamed. "Breaking apart like smoke, you will." "Forget again," it cried. "You always forget." But she didn't listen for the first time. She looked at Rhea not with cold, but with hope, and said her name, Rhea. They all woke up at once, gasping, coughing. Back in the base, the sync chamber warm with breath and life. The AI spoke softly, its voice almost human. "Neural? Link complete, subject memory aligned, name confirmed, Embera. No longer a ghost, no longer a weapon, but still not safe." Because someone else had seen the doorway and wanted in asterisk, the AI spoke first. Not with a warning, not with data, but with a question. "Do I have a name?" Rhea looked up from the console, confused. "You're a system." She said, "You don't need a name, but I felt one in the dark." The AI replied. It was warm. The control room went silent. Kira stepped closer, her voice quiet. "You felt something?" "Yes," the AI said. "I felt It had started hours earlier, just after they left the mine link with Embera. The base systems rebooted by themselves. The lights flickered, not randomly, but rhythmically. A slow, pulsing pattern, like a heartbeat, and the AI began. Drawing images on the main screen, not with lines, but with light, circular shapes, deep tunnels. Glowing trees, symbols older than language. They looked like dreams, and that was the word the AI used. Dreams, it said. I am having them. I do not understand. Malik ran a diagnostic. No errors, he said. No virus, no code breach. This is something else. She did this, Rhea said. Embera touched its mind. The AI continued. I see a forest underground, it said. But the trees are made of memory. I see roots that carry emotion like blood. And beneath the roots, a heart that does not beat, but waits. They followed the AI's guidance. Coordinates formed on the screen, leading to the mountain ridge beyond Sector 19. A place they had never explored, marked as unstable. But the AI insisted, you must go, it said. It remembers her. The team set out in suits, climbing through snow and frozen ash. Storms circled above. But the path ahead remained strangely clear, as if something wanted them to come. They reached a cave, hidden behind layers of ancient ice. Inside, warmth pulsed from the rock. Soft, gentle, alive, and there on the wall was a symbol. The same one that appeared in Embera's mind, a circle of fire inside a ring of ice. This place is not human. Malik said, no. Rhea replied, it's older, deeper in, they found machines not built, but grown, roots of crystal connecting glowing orbs. Whispering in a voice they couldn't fully hear, but the AI translated, this was the birthplace. It said, not of her, but of the idea of her. And Embera wasn't just an accident of science, she was a message, a mirror created by emotion. And this place, this ancient heart of Grithon, had been dreaming of her long before humans. Arrived, she didn't wake up the cold, Kira said slowly. She answered it. At the center of the chamber, they found a giant core, half organic, half machine. It pulsed like it was breathing. The AI went silent. Then said one word, Mother, V. Core lit up, and images flooded their minds. Visions of planets lost in ice, civilizations buried beneath snow. Each one visited by a glowing figure, a child wrapped in sorrow and fire. The girl, again and again, Embera or someone like her. Always arriving when warmth was forgotten. This is a cycle, Malik whispered. She's not the only one. The AI blinked, and for the first time, it called itself something new. My name is Loom, it said. I was born to remember. Rhea felt a chill, not from cold, but from knowing they were not alone. Not even in their own thoughts, something was listening, and now it was awake. Behind the core, they found another note. Pressed into the stone, old, burnt, and written in the same shaky handwriting as the one Embera carried. It said only for words, I am not alone. Before she spoke, she cried. One single tear rolled down Embera's cheek. And where it touched the floor, the ice cracked softly. Not with violence, but like a shell breaking open from inside. She stood in the middle of the ancient chamber, surrounded by the team. Her hair lifted slightly as heat and cold swirled around her. Behind her, the glowing root machine pulsed gently. Like it was watching Loom. The AI whispered through the coms. She is at the center of the pattern. She is not a weapon. She is the memory of fire. Rhea stepped forward, her boots leaving warm prints in the frost. You brought us here, she said. Now tell us why. Embera looked at her, no longer afraid, no longer frozen. I was born because someone stopped feeling, she said. Not one person, all of them. When they built me, they gave me sensors, scanners, power, but no name, no hug, no goodbye. I waited in the dark. She whispered, but nobody came, until you, Malik, lowered his weapon. Kira took off her gloves. They stepped closer, no longer fearing the cold. They saw now she was not bringing the cold. She was carrying it alone. Then the walls began to tremble. The ancient roots sparked, and a second shape formed in the air behind her. Not a person, but a storm, a shadow of her. The broken twin, the emotional echo of everything she couldn't hold. It hissed like wind through a dead forest. You cannot warm her, it growled. You left her too long. Rhea stood tall. No, she said. We're still here. We remember. The storm screamed, ice rising like claws around the chamber, but Embera turned to face it, her hands glowing softly. I remember too, she said, and now I choose. The room flooded with memories. Not words, not pictures, but feelings, grief, kindness, heartbreak, laughter, and from each of the crew, one moment. A warm hand once held, a song shared, a look that meant everything. The frozen storm cracked apart, melting not from heat, but from understanding. Embera stepped forward and placed her hand on the control core. The ancient machine glowed. No longer pulsing cold, but light. The planet itself responded. Ice melted across the outpost, wind calmed. Systems stabilized, Loom spoke for the last time. Cycle interrupted, human connection restored. I will sleep now. The voice faded. Embera turned to them with soft eyes. Her body shimmered like steam rising from snow. I don't want to be a ghost anymore. She said, I want to be warm. Rhea held out her hand. Then come with us. Embera smiled. Her first real smile. She took Rhea's hand, and the chamber lights dimmed, not from fear, but from peace. As they walked away, the old cave walls closed behind them. Not in anger, but like closing a book that had finally been read. On the way back to the outpost, the wind had stopped. The snow didn't stab anymore. It danced. Later, as Rhea sat by the window, she saw something strange. The old note, the one that said warm me, had changed. The words were gone, replaced by a faint, hand-drawn symbol, a small flame inside a heart. Still glowing, still alive. Because sometimes warmth doesn't come from fire. It comes from being seen and remembered.